Amazing traders, welcome to my YouTube channel. How's it going, everybody? So if you're just joining me for the first time, obviously this is actually my first video. So there is something I want to be doing. I want to be documenting my progress starting from 2026. So this is actually the first video I'll be uploading on YouTube. So if you want to be on the journey with me, you can always click on the subscribe button to get notification about my trading content and how it can help you in your own aspect of trading. So first off, we're going to be looking at a pair, just one pair to start off the channel, Nzdusd. So I actually want to show you guys how, maybe I'm not going to be doing too much, just a breakdown on, like, just a recap on how I actually perceive or see the market. So first off, we're going to be doing a top-down analysis on this is how I actually approach the market. So I want to show you the trade. This was how I want to show you how I caught the sells on NZD/USD. So this was the trade. This was the sell trade. Just give me a second, guys. Okay, yeah, this was the trade. So this was the trade on NZD/USD. This was the trade on NZD/USD. So as you can see, how I caught this particular sales on NZD/USD. So I'm going to be showing you real quick. So let's look at it. Let's actually analyze the market together, so that you can see how I actually got those sales. I actually got the sales on NZD/USD. So first off, the approach I take when analyzing the market, first off, we start from the higher time frame. Why do we start from higher time frame? Basically just getting to know the direction of the trend, right? And also using key levels to actually help us in terms of buying and selling, where to buy and where to sell, and also when to stay out of the market as well. So as you can see, this was from the higher time frame. From the daily perspective, you can see right from let's go to the weekly. So I'm trying to make this video as brief as possible. So as you can see, from the weekly, we had something like a trend line, which the market has been expecting for over this is over 4 years now, 2022, or let's say 2021 rather. This is over 4 to 5 years now. So as you can see, okay, 2021, 4 years, right? So as you can see, the market has been respecting this trend line for over 4 years, to tell you that this market has been bearish, right? So if you've been looking for higher time frame sales with the right way of trading on higher time frame using key levels, you would have been making money on this pair, trust me. So after we've known the direction on the higher time frame, then we don't come on the daily to mark our key levels. Obviously you can see the key levels, they're already marked out. I don't want to delete them, don't worry. We have many more videos to create, and we have many more pairs to analyze together going into the new year, right? So I feel like let's make impact together, right? You impact my life, I impact your life. We share our ideas. You can also comment what you think about, or what your own analysis is or is about to happen, what you see is about to happen in the market, right? Nobody's a monopoly of knowledge. We all know, we all have our own way of seeing things, right? So everybody's opinion is going to be respected, right? So back to how we got ourselves on NZUSD. So after looking at, okay, the trend of the market on the higher time frame, obviously you can see we had our key levels, right? We had our key levels right from here. So from here to here, this is one of the key level that the market respected. Going back to it, you can see how many times this level has been tested, right? This level has been tested. So we call this like a support region, a higher time frame support region. So this level is very significant, because when it occurs on the higher time frame, you know that this level is a very valid key level. That is why they are called key level, because they are being drawn on the higher time frame. So after the market respected this key level, as you can see, we broke this key level right from here. We broke this key level right from here, and this market dropped all the way down, but we failed to test this key level, this second key level, which was around this point that the market respected before. So we failed to test that level again, which when the market pulled back to this level, making this level now a resistance zone. Now, why is it now a resistance zone? Because it was acting as a support region from here, but now it's not turning into a resistance zone. Now, this is just a top-down analysis breakdown. Now, how I actually entered the market, I entered the market using structure. So as you all know, structure: higher highs, higher lows, lower highs and lower lows, right? So when we started pushing to the upside, right, we were creating structures of higher highs and higher lows, right? You can see we're creating structures of higher highs and higher lows. So as you can see right from here, we had this high, we had this low, created this high, created this low, this again, created the low, created another high, came back to this low. So like that till we got to this point here, right? So when we got to this point, right, for you to now get your entry, now using the higher time frame, using what the higher time frame is showing us, or has been showing us, right, we then look for, okay, since we are the resistance, right, what do we need to see for us to say, okay, that this market has actually changed its direction in line with the higher time frame? Now, if a market respects a resistance, for it to start selling, you need to start creating structures, and those structures are also known as lower highs or lower lows, right? Because when we're looking for sales, or we're looking for a bearish market, we want to see lower highs and lower lows. Now, as you can see right from here, when we got to the resistance zone, you see that we created, first of all, we created an equal high. This level right here is an equal high. Now, the first confluence is a resistance, right? A support turn resistance on higher time frame. Now we are creating an equal high on the 1 hour time frame. Then after we created the equal high, we then come over to break structure, right? As you can see, we then come over to break structure. We then come over to break this structure. This last low, this was the last low that the market formed, right? This was the last low that the market formed. This low that the market used to push this to push higher, right? This was the last low. So when we then break the structure, this now gave us the confirmation that there is a shift in trend. Now, if you've been buying, because obviously I also took some buys from around this region while we're heading to the upside. So I also took some buys because I saw structure pushing to the upside, right? After taking out this resistance zone right here, so I saw structure that made me buy here also. So now when we broke the last low, we then started creating, before we break the last low, we're also creating structure of higher highs and higher lows. Now mind you, we don't start selling immediately. We need to break the low that was made for the last low that was made while the market was buying, right? So if that low has been broken, it is now an added confluence that this market actually wants to sell. Now, what is the first confluence? We've used the higher time frame direction for sell. We had a resistance on the higher time frame. Now we had a structure break on the lower time frame. Now, being that we broke structure, as you can see, after we broke structure, what we then need to see is something we called POIs, right? Because the way I trade, I do, after doing my top down analysis to map, to look for my entry, I then use the POI, my POI, then mitigation and liquidity, right? So all that, we are going to be going into all that in the next video, but this video I just actually want to show you how using the higher time frame, how you analyzing from the higher time frame will shape your trading, right? So when you use the higher time frame, it helps a lot because you have already fit out all the noises, right? Because with the higher time frame, now you have only one thing to look at, which the higher time frame has already helped you to see. But if I'm starting from the lower time frame, if I'm starting from the lower time frame, I won't get to see what is actually going on from the bigger perspective, right? If I just start from the lower time frame without mapping out key levels, I will still be looking for buys because I didn't look at a key level. I didn't look if there is a resistance. I didn't check to see if there is something actually, if there is a place where the market might actually make a turnaround, right? So the higher time frame is very, very helpful. When you use the higher time frame, it helps you in your trading, and it gives you a better perspective when it comes to trading, right? So in my subsequent videos, we'll be talking more about structure and how I look for my POI, my entry, and all that. So as you can see, let me just give you a glimpse of it. So when we broke this level, right here, when we broke this level, the market came down to make a low, right? So as you can see, this low right here, the market came down to make this low. When we then made this high, and I said, okay, since we broken this low, we then need to break this previous low, because after breaking this low right here, we had this level, right? We had this level, which is called the breaker block, right? I use breaker, I use order block. Don't worry, with time I'll give you a feedback on how I get to see my breaker, or how I get to use my breaker and my order block, right? So if I was to look for my first entry, which I actually did, this was actually my first entry using this breaker block, and my stop losses was 15 pips here. It was supposed to be at this high, but I had to make it 15 pips. That's just one of my rule in trading. So you see that despite the fact the market pulled up, we didn't still hit our stop loss, right? So if I was holding this market, which I am holding, you will see that I didn't hit stop loss and it's still going in my direction. So, but nonetheless, I didn't catch that first trade. It was the second one I caught, right? Which was now the order block. This level right here was the order block. So as you can see, when we broke with this when we broke this level right here, some of you might say, okay, why didn't I use this level as my order block, right? Why didn't I use this order block level? Now this order block has been mitigated, right? There is something I call mitigation. Most traders know it, but there is a reason why I didn't use that level, because it has been mitigated. So the next level for me to use is my order block. So in my subsequent videos, you get to understand all this I'm saying. So I just wanted to do a recap of how I use the top down analysis, right? So we got this order block right here, and we're expecting the market to tap into this order block and drop, which when we tapped into the order block, we started dropping, right? We started dropping. So as you can see, my stop losses were around here. So as you can see, we came close to hitting the SL, to hitting our stop loss, but we didn't hit it. So we are still in on this trade, right? I even got another entry of recent. This was a breaker block entry right here. This was a breaker block entry right here. So don't worry, you're going to understand all what I'm saying very soon. So this was how I got the entry on Nzdusd. So basically, the main purpose of this video is just to show you how top-down analysis help when you analyze the market from a higher time frame perspective, right? It gives you a clear narrative about the market. So as you can see, this is the trade on NZD/USD. So let me show you the trade on the account. So as you can see, currently this is the trade. This is the trade on the account, and you can see we are still running. So I've shifted my stop losses to break even. So as you can see, we are still running in profit, right? We are still running in profit. So that's it, guys. If you want to get more content like this, please subscribe, so that as I'm sharing my journey, my trading journey, you're also going to be learning one or two things from the content as well. So do have a wonderful evening. Peace out, guys.